Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Dank Doggo r/ today I duck it up. So our ridiculous moments for today is from you/ the dancing hippie, with the title of TIFU by peeing in a litter box. It gets so much worse. This happened a few months ago, and it has taken this long for me to type it up because it is probably the most brutally embarrassing thing that I've ever done. I'm not using a throwaway because that sounds like a lot of work. Setting the stage, I'm 24, the rest of the people in the story are around my age, maybe 20 to 25, it doesn't really matter. We were at my friend Jay's house drinking. Jay lives in a co-op house with 20 plus people living there, and probably as many bedrooms. So my friends and I like to drink. It isn't the greatest hobby, and I'm sure there are better things we could be doing with our time, but for now, we are happy. On this night, for whatever reason, we decided to really drink. I think the phrase that I used was, "Let's get drunk like it's high school." Jay and a few friends had just returned from a couple weeks long festival, and we were all excited to see them. And apparently the best way to express that excitement was by partying with Angels, 1.75 liters of very cheap whiskey. Now, as anyone who binge drinks knows, there's a certain point you reach where it feels like the alcohol is no longer affecting you, that you can just keep drinking and drinking. We all had hit that point at some point during the night, but kept on trudging along. I could probably write a whole book of TIFUs of the things we did that night. Puking inside a mascot helmet, peeing on a friend's shoes, fighting a tree, etc. But this TIFU actually doesn't even take place until long after we called in a night and went to bed. Let me back it up a little bit. So as the morning, went down, and we all headed to wherever we were sleeping for the night, I ended up naked in Jay's bed with her. Fun was had. Well, as much fun as two incredibly sloppy drunk people can have, and we passed out for what I assumed was going to be a very heavy sleep. So I imagined my surprise when a few hours later, I was suddenly wide awake. Now, this wasn't your normal waking up. As I woke up, I realized a few things. I was standing in the middle of Jay's room. I was still naked. I was still very drunk, and I had to pee badly. Not like, okay, let me put some pants on and run to the bathroom badly. I mean, like I had maybe 2 seconds until 1 liter of whiskey and probably no water came flooding out of my disappointingly limp noodle in whatever direction it happened to be pointing at. Guys, I'm not proud of this, but I panicked. I didn't see a cup or jar anywhere, but what I did see was Jay's cat's litter box. I didn't have time to weigh my options. I didn't have time to think about the ramifications. I just ran over and started unloading into that poor receptacle. There was so much pee, it just kept coming. The entire time I keep stealing glances over the bed to make sure that Jay was still fast asleep, that she wouldn't witness my shame. At this point, I have filled the litter box. The litter has stopped soaking my urine and is now just floating in it. I have reached peak shame. This literally couldn't get any more embarrassing. Thank God she was still asleep. I finally finished up, shook myself dry, and started crawling around the floor looking for some clothes so I can dispose of my shame. The whole time I'm paying very close attention to Jay. I do not want to wake her up. As I'm crawling right next to her in bed, not recognizing any of her stuff I'm finding, Jace opens eyes wide and few things become instantly clear. Jay does not have a cat. I am not in Jay's room. This is not Jay. In fact, this is a long-haired, very confused, and very quickly getting angry man. My brain just short-circuited at this point. I started trying to mumble an apology about how I thought this was someone else's room and I didn't live there and I was lost. He wasn't having it. Granted, he was barely awake himself. He just tells me to get the duck out of his room, and then I stand up and he realized I'm naked. The last thing he said to me was, "And you're ducking naked? What the duck?" Before I apologized again, I ran out of the room. I left the room realizing it's light out, people will be waking up any minute now, and I'm still butt potato naked. Oh yeah, I was also on the 3rd floor of a house with 20 identical unlabeled rooms. I had fallen asleep in a room on the 1st floor. I ran around that house for 20 minutes trying to find some rhyme or reason. I was still very drunk. I finally found a dish towel to wrap around myself, which gave me a bit more confidence, and I started logically going about this. I finally found the room I fell asleep in because I left the door wide open with Jay still fast asleep, none the wiser. I climbed back into the bed, and to this day, she has no idea about my early morning adventure. My drunk butt had walked up 2 flights of stairs and entered some random thinking it was the bathroom before I, thankfully, woke up. I was so embarrassed in the morning that I left with a shirt over my head in a case that guy saw me and just run straight into my car. Never got brought up, as far as I know, and the guy doesn't even remember it. TLDR, got super drunk and passed out naked in a girl's room, woke up in her room still naked, and had to pee really bad, so I peed in her cat's litter box. Quickly after that, I realized that I wasn't in her room, but had drunkenly walked into some random guy's room and then filled his cat's litter box with pee. Wow, the story just so goddamn good. One hell of a roller coaster. I know, partying and drinking isn't the best kind of hobbies or interests, but hell, it was fun. Just like OP had in the story. There was so much elements in the story that this could seriously become a great comedy movie, like a mixture of Hangover and The Walk of Shame. At first I thought, how bad could this be? I mean, sure, urinating in a cat's litter box is quite shameful, but he was drunk after all. But man, doing so while naked in a girl's room where she sleeps right next to you, where you're just flushing it all out on her cat's litter box, and then realizing that girl doesn't even own a cat. And then you realize there was no girl in the room, only a dude with long hair. Like, oh my gosh, like holy freaking crap, dude. That was some serious plot twist right there. I just absolutely love the story and plots where you simply cannot guess what would happen next. Absolutely brilliant. My mind was blown away. As a side note, does anybody notice that Jay was just a friend? A friend that OP can casually crawl into bed naked and sleep right next to and had some fun. It means that it wasn't really a mistake that he slept next to Jay. It wasn't some sort of drunken accident. Like, wow, I bet so many of you wish you have these kinds of friends. And now for the comments. We have the first comment by u/PM me small boobs. Dude, that guy definitely remembers a drunk naked guy flooding his cat box. The OP replied that, shh, he doesn't remember. User Rinken Vorkovin further added, he will probably write about it here on Reddit eventually somewhere. Meanwhile, user Red City praised, this story made me laugh hysterically. I had moments like this where I filled a vacuum. Wait a minute, this isn't a vacuum. WTF did I just do? I mean, a lot of drunk people have a tendency to dream about urinating in a very cool bathroom before realizing that it was their fridge. The OP responded, no! Holy crap, a vacuum? That's hilarious! And we have the final comment from u/Victoria. This reminds me of a party I went to. I woke up in the middle of the night to see this guy taking a piss on the ottoman in the living room. He was even sitting to pee and I don't think he noticed. We woke up in the morning to awful piss smell and soaking wet furniture, and no one owned up to it. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Dank Doggo appreciates your time. If you enjoy our content and want to see more of us, stay tuned and subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button or Doggo will cry. Also, you can always tell us your Doggo comments, your experiences in the comment section. I will catch up with you guys later in the next video.